Hello and welcome. Thanks for joining us today for another episode of our Managed Services in Action series, a series of conversations with leaders to talk about industry challenges that we're seeing every day and how our managed service capabilities are helping to address those challenges. My name's Tim Canonico. I'm a partner here at PwC, and I'm joined by Christina Woods, a director in our practice that helps companies every day transform how they operate their monitoring programs around the world. Thanks for joining us, Christina.
Thanks for having me, Tim.
So compliance monitoring, not a new topic. Can you spend a few minutes talking about why you think there's so much focus all of a sudden on this topic?
Tim, you're right. Monitoring has long been recognized as a critical element of any effective compliance organization. But I would say lately, we've seen an increased buzz in this area, and I really find that it's being driven by a couple of different factors. Regulator expectations being the first one. So if you think about the recent updates to the DOJ guidance on evaluating compliance programs, we're seeing the focus on accessing and monitoring data within organizations. At the same time, more and more compliance organizations are being asked to expand their monitoring remit to cover global compliance programs. But they also have to do that while managing costs. And so what it all boils down to is that compliance monitoring is a must-have. It's not a nice-to-have, especially if we pay attention to what the regulators are saying. And for many organizations, the types of risks that they've been asked to monitor are more complex and nuanced than ever before. So couple that with that compliance leaders are challenged to do that in a more cost-effective way.
Yeah, it's funny. You and I have talked about this, and whenever we meet with compliance officers, they're always trying to do more with less. There's so much change happening. There's AI, there's new commercial models that are happening. The world is very dynamic, and monitoring is certainly an important part of that. Can we double click a little bit on what some of those challenges are that when you speak to different leaders around the world, what are they telling you are their pain points?
I hear a lot, but I would say that when I talk to monitoring leaders, there are typically three main pain points that I continuously hear. The first one really is all around talent. And it's really the lack of quality resources around the globe to execute monitoring with consistency. I would say the second pain point I continue to hear, and this is particularly from global monitoring leaders, is the struggle to effectively aggregate and view monitoring results centrally to identify those regional and global themes and truly anticipate where emerging risk is. And I would say that the third pain point, and probably not surprisingly, is all around cost. The reality is, now more than ever, budgets are tight, so monitoring leaders are really exploring innovative ways to deliver quality monitoring in cost-effective manners.
Yeah, I mean, when you sum it up, right, we think about the traditional monitoring approach of doing things in a very decentralized way. You often get monitoring done as a hobby. Yesterday's news today, it takes a long time for those results to percolate through the organization to leaders so they can action those issues. And then ultimately it comes at a really high cost. And I know the work that you've been front and center leading has really transformed how monitoring both works and operates day in and day out. So maybe share just a few minutes with how we've helped our clients fundamentally change the game on how they do compliance monitoring and where our managed services capabilities fit in.
I would be happy to. So here at PwC, through our global monitoring managed services, we're really helping clients transform their global monitoring programs and really achieve those cost-effective and tech-enabled monitoring. And we do that powered by RiskDetect, our end-to-end monitoring solution. So we have global monitoring outsourced capabilities that span across live monitoring, transactional monitoring, risk-based analytics, as well as records review. And we can help our clients manage truly the cost of compliance and allow them to help reallocate their valuable resources to do other value-added work. We've curated a diverse and highly trained team of colleagues who bring the right combination of multidisciplinary industry knowledge as well as cost-effective execution of operational tasks. So we can literally be the boots on the ground to monitor those live events or the hands on keyboards to analyze data, develop monitoring dashboards, and document observations through our product RiskDetect. And that's really helping to digitize the end-to-end monitoring program.
All that sounds amazing, right? So if you're a compliance leader here today thinking about your op model, do you insource this? Do you co-source this? Clearly, you talked about how we can help take on a lot of the heavy lift, how we use technology in our teams to do that. Net, end of the day, like what does this mean? What's the value that it brings for our clients by taking this approach?
It's really simple. I distill it down to a few things. First and foremost, it's a way to lower cost in executing monitoring. The other piece that's been key, especially globally, is driving consistency and independence in quality execution. This is not just a fly-by-the-night exercise. This is something that our teams are doing day in and day out. And really what that brings back in terms of value is real-time visibility to leaders on what's happening on the ground in a way that they can make more strategic decisions as an organization.
It makes total sense. And maybe I can just take a second. Let me attempt to bring it all together, right? So if I were to summarize this conversation, the need for compliance monitoring isn't going anywhere. In fact, it's becoming a requirement and an expectation that this is happening day in and day out. Many companies have been challenged on how to find the right talent, how to do this at the right cost, how to get the right visibility. And the managed service capabilities that we've brought to bear help transform how that works and then operates it on behalf of our clients. We bring our people, our technology together to help take on the heavy lift. And that can result in lower costs, better visibility, and ultimately in compliance leaders getting their hands around what's happening on the ground in real time. Did I sum all of that?
You did it justice.
All of that up. Great.
Absolutely.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Christina, for joining. And thank you all on behalf of PwC. Thanks for joining us today. And we'll tune in next time for the next episode of Managed Services in Action. Thank you.